Carolyn Clinton. Hello, how are you doing?
All right, thank you, Jason. How are you?
Not too bad. So we've done a little interview with Felix and Luke. I don't know if you saw that one. It went down quite well. What we're looking at doing is over the lockdown period, just getting some swimmer stories and how you've been coping with the lockdown. It's a little bit of a different time now because it's kind of finished a little bit. So some people say, even though we're still in lockdown,
Yes,
it's eased up. And I know from your job, you probably have great opinions on this as well. But just to start with, tell us a little bit about your swim, because you're a long distance swimmer, aren't you? So you spend a lot of hours in both pool and the lake.
Yes, I do the squad swim with you on a Tuesday, and then if in the winter I'm normally swimming at Siren on a Sunday and do a good couple of hours in there. But in the summer, like now, I still do the squad swim, but I would be either at Lake 86 or 32 doing an early morning swim or a long swim during the day. So when the lockdown came and the swimming stopped completely, that was like a big hole in my life that disappeared. And I was like, what do I do? And as my husband and my family will tell you, I was, apart from being ill and recovering from that, it really, evil mum was what they were calling me, because I couldn't go swimming. And I think it was that loss of that activity that you get used to, that everybody knew Tuesday, even everybody at work knows I go swimming. Thursday in the summer, Saturday, Sunday morning is like a routine and a rhythm to everything. And that just disappeared. It was horrible. And I know it's the same for everybody, you know, those swimmers that do, you know, whatever. I mean, swimming lessons for my daughter stopped and she's missed that as well. So, you know, it's been horrible from that point of view for me.
So how does it feel to be back in the lake? Because you've been a couple of times.
I've been a couple of times. That last Monday was one of the most special times to just get in the water. I mean, it was flat calm, the sun was shining, the water's like 17 degrees, which was perfect. I love swimming in that temperature water. And just going out was amazing. My swimming was horrendous. I looked like I was drowning. I had no rhythm, I had no coordination, but just to swim out in the sunshine was absolutely phenomenal, and it felt like normality. That's what was the best part about it. The best swim of the year, really, for me. And it's like that first time you go into open water at the start of the season. It's just cold but beautiful. It was like that whole feeling of freedom came back. I was like, I love this. I was a little bit worried that I'd get in and go, oh, I don't like this anymore, but I didn't. And I was like,
I don't like swimming.
I don't like swimming anymore. That's me done. I'm going to do something else. I don't know what. But no, it was amazing. And I then have booked more slots and have been 3 times now. Set up there has been amazing anyway. But it's been flat calm when I've gone there, so it's been like the perfect scenario. So.
And has the social distancing impacted the swim at all up there? Because Tom's done a really good job of doing all of that side of things.
He's got a really big entry runway, I can't think what you call it, to go in, which is sloped area. And then there's that nice little stretch out way before you get to the first buoy. And then people just set off and go. And I haven't had any bump into me, or when I've stopped, people, you look around before you stop, and not had any issues at all. It's been amazing. And I think because you're so happy to be swimming, you head down, trying to sight. It's been absolutely, I think it's brilliant. And he's only got, I think, 25, 30 people in that section of the lake. And it's, 400 metres up and down. It spaces out quite well, I think. It's been brilliant. And the car parking, he's got it spaced out. I turn up in my wetsuit and go home in my wetsuit, so it's fun. It's been brilliant.
So it's good that it's not impacting the swim. So
no.
That's good. Because I always remember you, before we met and knew each other, we just used to say hello in Lake 12, probably 4 or 5 years ago. And I think you're the only person that has spent more time in a lake at the same time as me, because I got into coach and did 2 sessions back to back, and I was out whilst you were just finishing your lap.
I also used to be like, all right, and then go out. I used to do the 2 hours. I used to always do the 2 hours in there. And I used to think that if he's getting out, then it's time to get out. That's what I used to time, because I used to think if you were still in there, they couldn't shout at me. Because they used to look at me and just touch. I used to ask what time it was, and they used to say, oh, it's like 7 o'clock or whatever. And I was thinking, no, it isn't, because he's still in there. So I used to go round. If I saw you getting out, I thought, no, it is time to get out now. So I used to use you as my timer.
But no, so that's just trying to get across the amount of time you do spend in the lakes. Having that taken away was must have been a big hit. So what were
Yeah,
you?
everybody knows how long I spend in the lakes. Everybody, work, everybody.
So when that was taken away, when we were in proper lockdown, what kind of stuff were you doing to keep the fitness up? And
Well, as you know, Jess, I came down with COVID-19 just before lockdown. I did my last swim with you on the Tuesday, and then by the Saturday I was in hospital. So I was recovering for about 3 weeks, and just started when I was allowed to go outside to do a little bit of walking. And I found that because I wasn't doing the school run and I wasn't driving to work, I had more time. And I thought, well, I'm not going to sit here and just eat, because that's what I started to do. I thought the best thing I can do is do some more exercise. So I started walking a lot more. We got a turbo trainer, which has been amazing. So you can sit there watching it on the telly, watch stuff on the telly while you're sweating. That's been brilliant. We've been doing the dry land training with you. The stuff that you've put on from Southwest Swim has been so helpful. Having something focused to do a couple of times a week.
yeah,
My friend, I'm also very lucky, she does is an instructor, so I've been doing kettlebells with her a couple of times a week by Zoom. And it's loads of different things that I've increased I think I probably do more exercise now than I've ever done, and a variety, which I think I've realised that as well as just swimming, I should be doing something else and not just swimming, because I think my fitness would be better if I'm doing more other activities, whether it's dry land exercises and strengthening my shoulders, which I think has been the focus really for me, is to keep my shoulder strength, but also to prevent any injury when I go back into the water. So the kettlebells, the dry land stuff, walking and cycling is never an issue. And as a family, we've now the 4 of us going out on bike rides, which we never did ever. And not since I think my eldest was 7 and she's 20. So you can see we haven't really been bike riding. And the little one, we've just go out down the road. But now as a family, we've been going out down around the Thames Path and everything. And I think it's been good. Not that lockdown is good, but from a point of view of identifying different ways of exercising, and putting time aside for that exercise and forming a routine has been really good. And doing things with Zoom, like we do the Thursday training with you.
That's quite fun sometimes. I don't know
good.
how it's going to work this week, because we'll all be on the floor after the last exercise. But
it's good because for me, it's the motivation to do it, because otherwise I wouldn't do it. So it's the same with my friend doing kettlebells. If she didn't do that 40 minutes, I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't do it with you. So those sessions that you released means that I keep on exercising rather than just sat in front of the telly eating, because that's what I would be doing. I'd finish my work and I'd be like, right, it's dinner time, and then sit down and watch Netflix, so to actually get an hour's exercise a day, which is basically what it is, or more. If I do Pilates as well, I've been doing that with Christine, my squad lane buddy. I've been doing that with her. To me, it's all those different disciplines that I've introduced into my dry land training, which I really would like to keep going on top of the normal swimming that I do. It's finding the time now, Jason, when it all gets released, to find these extra hours. But it just means I just have to get up a bit earlier, I think. That's what it will have to be.
Yeah, that was my next question, actually. Are you going to take anything that you've been doing while you couldn't swim forwards into your swim training and general training?
I think I will. I try and do what the variety I've done, and I will do the dry land training if I can't go swimming because something's happened, or the weather's terrible, or I don't know, something happens. I know that I've got these exercises that I can do. I've got the equipment so that I can keep training. But also I love doing the Pilates. That really does help stretch out when you've done a long swim, which is what I've been doing over the last couple of days, because I forgot how much you hurt after long distance swimming. I forgot how much your shoulders hurt and how much your core aches. So it's been good to do that, but I want to try and keep the kettlebells up, the Pilates and the dry land. Maybe not so much the cycling, but we'll do that as a family, as a little thing on the side. But I do want to, and I think it's that identification that you don't just have to do swimming to keep your swimming up. Don't have to do 8 kilometers every week, Carolyn. You could do 4 and do some other things and still keep your stamina up. And I think before I've never thought about it because swim has never been taken away. Whereas once it's taken away and you find other things that are really good for strengthening your shoulders, or that type of thing, I think it's been really useful for me.
Yeah. And how did you find, because you had COVID-19, how did you find your recovery back into exercise? Because I also had it suspectedly, as you know. It took me probably 6-7 weeks before I was A, allowed to exercise, recommended, and B, could feel I could do it. And even now it's kind of a struggle. So on some...
I mean, you've got asthma, I don't have that, so I struggled that the first 3 or 4 weeks afterwards. Even when I went for a walk, I was coughing, but I was still exercising, and I know you were told not to, so I probably shouldn't have done as much as I was. But I would do like 5 minutes on the turbo train, cough, 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 cough. So I'd do 5 minutes. So I was doing tiny little bits of exercise, and I found the walking, it got me outside. It helped with my mental health of being stuck inside with family and work and all of that type of thing. And I think that I think it took me longer than I thought it was. It was like, when you've had a really bad cold and you go back to swim and you think, oh, I shouldn't have done that. But it was like that for 3 or 4 weeks afterwards. I was doing stuff and I was thinking, I really should just be resting. But I just didn't want to be inside and not doing anything. So it was the walking really that got me fit. And some of the exercises that you put on with the stretching more than the swimathon type thing that you put on there, I found that they were really good because I was exercising, sweating, but not breathless. So that really helped. And I was doing some Pilates exercises as well. So it was that type of thing I did rather than the aerobic stuff. But I really struggled for a good 3 weeks after I felt better. So I suppose it took me a month really to get back. And I look back and think, yeah, you were really quite poorly. You shouldn't have been doing as much as you were. But nobody's going to tell me, Jason.
It was a struggle for someone to tell me I couldn't do anything for 6 weeks when I was basically putting on more weight and getting more unfit and just feeling unfit. So, but when I got put in the endless pool the first time, I did 10 minutes and I was knackered. So that was 6-7 weeks after I had it and it had cleared up. So
and I think it's that when people have had it, whether you've had it mildly, I think you're still feeling poorly afterwards. My husband wasn't great for a week or so afterwards, but I was really not right. And I think if you've had a bad dose of it, you should, the message is rest, and the exercise will always be there if that's what you like doing. But there is always the walking, and I felt that really did help. Though I did cough everywhere I went, and people were running, screaming from me, and I had to explain to them that I was just recovering with a viral cough. It wasn't actually an active infection.
It clears the queue, doesn't it?
Clear the queue at Aldi. That's why my husband sent me.
So you had some events planned this year, some long.
Yes.
How's that affected you for those? Because in all likelihood, I don't think many things are going to go ahead this year.
I had one big event.
Through the training and things.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I was hoping to do something at the Henley Swim Festival. That's one thing I had, but it was in the background. And obviously the stuff that goes on at Lake 32 with the big swims, always like to do those. But the big thing I had was to do the solo swim at Windermere. And when I was ill, it was playing on my mind a lot that I was not training, because by March, I'd be back in open water. By now, I would be doing 8K, going ploughing around the lake. I would be doing really long swims, and I just thought I'd want to do this justice and do it properly. So I contacted them and said, could I postpone it till next year, just to take the pressure off me, because you just don't know how things were going to. It was in the middle of the peak, and I was like, this could go on for months or it could be over and done with, but at least I've given myself the option to do it next year and not worry about it. So that's been done, and I will be doing that next year now. So it took the pressure off immediately, and I felt much better about it. And I think now I still wouldn't have enough time to be able to do the training that I need in open water for August. I mean, I probably would have done it, but I would have injured myself. So it's better to take a step back and think that I can always do that. It's paid for. I'm doing it next year. It's a big goal. And then any little events that come up, if they are available later on in the year, at least I can do those without having to worry about, does it affect my training? Will I be able to fit it into what I'm doing? So it's disappointing, and I am really disappointed because I built myself up for it. But actually now that I know that I'm doing it next year. I just have a 18-month training plan rather than a 6-month training plan. And that's good because I'm doing all these other exercises. So hopefully my shoulders will be stronger, my core will be stronger, and I will be able to swim better. So it's all for the greater good, as they say.
Because you're doing it with Leon, aren't you? Swim Your Swim.
Yes, I am. Swim Your Swim. Yeah. And he was like, yes, it's fine, I understand. So
they're quite good. I know Leon. He's as you know, he's quite accommodating, and they're still closed at the moment anyway. Even their venues are still closed, so they fully understand the training. You know, it's not just getting in and doing something like Windermere.
No.
It's a long way at the best of times, but
yes, it is a long way
to do it justice. And
that's why I thought when I was ill, it was in my back of my mind, I've got to get back in the pool, I've got to get training, how am I going to keep my fitness up? And that's one of the reasons why I started to do all these other disciplines. But for me to be able to do that with Leon, I didn't want to not be able to give it a good attempt. I mean, if I only got halfway and I'd done all the training, that's fine, but to do it and not really be ready for it, I think that's dangerous. Like trying to run a marathon when you've only done 10 weeks training, you really need a better run-in for it than that. And you know, you need to be able to train in bad weather as well for Windermere. So I was, you know, it's not going to be long enough, you know, to do it. So, and it's fine, I've set it for next year. That's my aim. So my goal will be, that's what I'll do next year. So, you know, just got to do more red mist sessions now. So can't wait for that, Jason. As you know, my favourite session of all time.
Yeah, they'll be back soon enough, hopefully.
Oh, hooray!
Some form or another on that. But the thing is, just to mention that, the red mist set is a hard and fast set. So just for everyone watching, when you're getting back in the lake, I mean, I'm sure you were going around the lake and it was literally just a plod, thinking about stroke, keeping going, and just rhythm and trying to get that back. But yeah, don't hop into the lake for everyone else and or the pool when they reopen and think you can start where you left off. It's not going to happen, and you might injure yourself.
No, that was the shock as well. Is that, you know, you're going around and you know 400 meters before I would do the 1500 at Lake 32 and not think anything of it, and I was swimming to the end of the 400 at 86 to turn back around. I thought, this is a long way. 400 meters is a long way. And then coming back, I was like, that's a long way back down there. But after a couple of lengths of doing it and not worrying about it and concentrating on things and thinking, I understand what Jason was doing with that dry land stuff now. I was thinking about it as I was doing it. But that's probably why I looked like I was drowning, because I wasn't actually swimming. I was thinking more about my stroke than I was about propelling myself forward, and concentrating, rotating and things like that. It was really nice to be in a lake, enjoy the sunshine, enjoy the water, but also not be ploughing around trying to get 6 laps done before time up, if you know what I mean. So it was nice to enjoy that and enjoy getting back into the rhythm of it. And even now I'm still slower than I've ever been, but I think it comes back, and I'm tired as well from swimming, which you forget how tired that you are and how hungry you get as well.
Yeah, and that's the main thing, isn't it? When you're tired, and if before, when your body's used to doing those distances, you could probably get back in the day or day after and do a similar distance going round as a long swimmer.
Not now. I've got a big gap.
When you start that, you try and do that. That's where the injury comes, because you're just not. So yeah, but it's good to know the dry land stuff's working, because Sarah Clinton said the same. But the swim cord work that we've been doing really helped, and she's been in a few times now, and really sort of it's not the same, but it's kept up that muscle memory to a certain extent. Yeah.
I mean, I was tired and achy, but it wasn't like as if I hadn't been doing anything for a while, like I was coming back from an operation or enforced, you're not allowed to do anything. And I think it's that, like you say, the muscle memory and keeping your shoulders supple and that rotation in them, so that you're not going to pull anything when you start going, because it is so repetitive when you're swimming. You forget that you're doing something to go up and down all that time. You forget that. And I got out and I was like, I am tired. I've not been this tired for a long time. And I think it's the shock that how much you built up that stamina to be able to do things like long distance swimming, that it really I was like, and I was had the hunger as well. I forget. And I hadn't taken an energy drink with me because I thought I'm only doing a mile. But actually, I'm like, yeah, you need to take all the stuff with you and fuel afterwards, and not just, you'll be okay, because that's not how you train, Carolyn. You know that. But, I just didn't think anything of it. I thought I'm only going to do like an hour and a half. Do you know what I mean? It'd be fine. But
brilliant. So going back into the pool, so you've often said on Facebook that Tuesday night is your favourite night of the week.
Oh, it is, definitely.
So what have you missed about the squad training in general, all through? What's the main things you've missed on there?
I missed my lane buddies.
Yeah.
I miss my lane buddies. Christine's my main lane buddy. And I've got Glenn as well, who I've seen down at the lake a couple of times now. But it's also, making faces at you whenever you put anything horrible up on the board for us to swim. I missed that, goading the coach, I call it, but
Yeah, sometimes I worry because it's a face like you want to kill me. Another time.
Yeah, well, normally it is. I think, how are we supposed to do that? But I enjoy that. I love the discipline of it as well, so that I go and it's focus training. It isn't just what I think I should be doing or following a plan that's, on the guru or whatever. It's focused. And you tell us when we're doing something wrong. So I'm not just repeating the same mistake. Like you cross over and there's something, or you're like, no, that's right. What you're doing is right. And it's that sort of focused attention that's really fab, and seeing myself progress over the last 2 years as well. But I think it's more the camaraderie and within the whole 4 lanes. Do you know what I mean? We're all there doing different things, and there's some people doing Ironman and women, and there's some people that are just trying to get into open water swimming or just trying to improve their stroke. And we're all there for different reasons, but we're all there together, if that makes sense. And we all have a laugh. I mean, even if we're like hanging at the end of it, we're all smiling, and I think it's that sense of achievement and accomplishment at the end of that hour focus, but also meeting people who are like-minded as well is always good. And even though it's a tiny pool, we still come out red-faced and exhausted.
Yeah, it's hard
especially
work.
doing the unco swim, uncoordinated one. But all of those things, when you go back into the water, you can see why we did them. Like you can see, now you sort of, it comes back to you thinking, he was right. Even when I used to sit there and go, what are you doing this for? Just know what he's talking about. But yes, I've loved it, and it's that focus that I know every Tuesday that's what we're going to be doing, seeing the same people, seeing you coaching us, and doing all the little bits and pieces that we do, and the build up for the CSS and everything, which is my other favorite thing that I like doing apart from red mist sessions. But it's good to know that you can see yourself improving or not. If you don't improve, it doesn't matter, you're staying the same, so that's still just as important. Do you know what I mean? That you haven't deteriorated, or you are, it's not a plateau, maybe that's the fittest you're ever going to be, but that's not a bad thing to be swimming at that pace. Especially if you're long distance. Do you know what I mean? And working out where your stroke rate is and all those little things. But I think it's the camaraderie as well.
And as we all get older, you've got to take the gains of, well, I'm roughly the same as I was 5 years ago, but I'm 5 years older, so that's all. So that's where I come from.
And I think because I've never really had swimming lessons until I came to the swim squad. Do you know what I mean? I had those one-to-ones with you, never had anything. And I think that for me, whereas that you're not a great swimmer because there's something not quite right, and for it to be corrected, and then you're able to swim further, not necessarily faster, but you can swim further, has just been a revelation really for me, and I've really enjoyed it. But I've also meeting people that I would never have met before. It's lovely, and then when you see them down at the lake as well,
it's like a little set of friends that
little community of people.
Oh, brilliant. So I thought I'd ask that one because you always post. I always get out of the sort of tech pool at 10 o'clock and think, what did she think this week?
Sometimes I'm like, that's the hardest thing I've ever done. But I did it, and that's what's great, is that it may be a really hard, difficult set to do. But I get through it, sometimes like literally wanting to die when I finished, but I do get through it. And I think it's that challenge, whereas if you're training by yourself, you never challenge yourself that much or push yourself that much within a really controlled environment. So you tend to do the things that you enjoy, don't you, when you're training? You don't tend to do the things that you don't enjoy, because they're the difficult things. So that's why I love about the squad, is that it makes me do things that I don't like those tumble turns. Honestly, never done one in my life before. There it was at the end, just about not drowning, but can do them. I wouldn't do them all the time, but if I needed to, I do feel like now it's those little things that I've learnt, and also not to cross over when I swim.
Well, hopefully they'll be back soon. I'm not sure when,
hopefully.
not sure how, but hopefully they'll be back soon. So
well, maybe from August it may be.
I think August will be a likely time, which will tie in quite well actually, because that's when the lakes will start dying down at the end of August with the temperature for most people. So it's never been away.
It's just like a very long summer holiday, Jason. That's what it would have been.
I've kept up my practice with the kids, so if I can coach them, I can coach anyone.
Well, precisely. Teaching your own kids is a whole another level of whether it's at school or swimming. I just, we spend all day talking about that.
Oh, brilliant. So to finish off with, just a couple of questions. So with all this in mind, have you changed your goals, both for swimming and in life itself?
I think one thing I've learned from all of this is to have patience, which I don't have. I'm absolutely useless. I want to go gun ho into things, but I think I've learned to take a little bit of a step back and to take a bit of a breather, and to think, if you can't do something that day, it doesn't matter. You can adapt, and to learn to adapt. So probably not with work, because I'll always be the same and just go rah into everything. But from being at home and trying to do things more as a family. So like the cycling has been fab. So it's trying to keep things that we've started ongoing and not just let it drop to the wayside. But I think it's, set goals and don't worry if things change, because you can always reset your goal and do it in 3 months' time or a year's time. It's fine. It's a journey rather than just that one fixed point at the end. And that, some horrible things happen, but actually in the long run, it's that process that you go through. But it's becoming more patient and being patient with myself as well. And not being upset if you can't. I'm not patient at all, but I'm trying to be. I've identified it as something that I really need to work on. Really need to work on. And I know that I'm not a patient. Everybody will tell you that I'm not patient, but I think this has given me the opportunity, the time to think about a lot more things, and not worry if I can't get that swim in. I think that's always been like, if I can't do it, then what am I supposed to do? Whereas now I know what I can do. I can do some dry land training, I can do some Pilates, I can do some kettlebells. There's lots of things that I can do that will help me if I can't get into the water. It doesn't matter, if the pool's shut for some reason, or you're on holiday, or I'm on holiday. This doesn't matter. I can still do these things, and I think that's what I'll take forward, is that you learn to adapt, and as long as you take those positives forward, it'll be fine. It will all be fine in the end. It'll
all work out.
It will all work out.
So I think you've answered the last question I've got for you anyway. So are you going to what's the one thing you'll take away as a positive from this whole nasty lockdown virus experience?
Bizarrely or not, spending more time with my children. Because I work full time. I don't really see them. But actually spending some time with them has been, though we're all in a household together and everybody's the same, we all want to kill each other. It's actually been quite nice to spend time with the youngest. My oldest is at university, so she's back and she does what she wants, and that's fab. But the younger one, it's been lovely to spend a little bit more time with her during the day, and to spend more time doing exercise and stuff with them, and incorporating that love of being outside, whereas we can't go paddleboarding and swimming together like we used to, that we can do other activities such as the cycling, or she's been coming for a walk with me when she's been on her scooter, and we're actually just spending that little bit of time, even if it's half an hour a day, where we just talk to each other. That's been really lovely for me and her. The rest of them, they sit and watch telly and eat, but for me and her, it's been lovely and with my eldest as well, we've gone on bike rides together. Who would ever have thought that? So You know what I mean? To be able to do those little things has been really positive, in amongst of all the stress and the working from home and not being able to swim and all of that stuff. I think for me that's been a really great thing to be able to do. How long it will last once we're back at work and she's back at school and, you know, the oldest just goes back to university, I don't know, but it'd be something that I will remember fondly, is being able to spend a little bit more time with them.
Yeah, well, you're lucky they're not at the age where Ben is, where he's just sat in his Xbox. Or
she was like that, my eldest, and then she went off to university and came back like a changed and new person who wants to spend time with her mother, going for bike rides. It's very unnerving.
Yeah, or at 10:42, he's still in bed at the moment.
Yeah. Well, so's my eldest, but you know, that's what you get used to, that, Jason. You just accept the fact that their time clock is completely different to everybody else's, and that they don't function like normal people till they're about 30, apparently. So.
Oh, brilliant. Well, it's been great chatting to you. I know we chat regularly, but I just wanted to sort of do this interview because I know you spend a lot of hours in the water, so I wanted to know
I do
get to know how that's been affecting you and for all the others, because a lot of our swimmers are long distance swimmers as well, so a lot of them would have been in the same boat. So it's been really good to get that sort of story from you as well. So yeah, it's been great.
Fab. It's been great talking to you as well, Jason. Thank you.
Right, and I will see you on a meetup soon, and hopefully in the pool
no problem
as well.
Hopefully. I'll see you soon anyway.
See you later.
Bye. Bye.